Good morning, y'all. Good morning and happy Sunday to you. Forgive the funky hair. It is organization day and cleanup day here in the Hoplop land. So I care less about what I look like and more about practical keeping hair out of my face. There was a surprise from the husband today. I was supposed to go have my hair done as a surprise for my birthday. But guess what, y'all? We have a tropical storm. Take a look. You can't even see the tree outside my window. It's that dense, the rain. I told y'all yesterday I felt a storm coming, and sure enough, it hit. We got a notice from Florida Power saying to expect that our power is going to go out, and we thought it was just last night. Like out of nowhere, it was like tornadic around here. I said to my husband, is there a tornado warning? And like a second later, there was an alert from Florida Power saying actually it's a tropical storm, and make sure you've got your flashlights ready, make sure you've got everything ready. So we battened down, and it passed fairly quickly. It only took a couple of hours. We are far enough south, y'all. We are far enough south to be affected. It's coming up through the Keys. It'll hit Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and us, and we're close enough to the water too. So we thought it was just going to be last night. It turns out it's going to be a 3-day epic adventure, and in fact, it's going to hit worse this afternoon. The problem here is not so much wind. Florida's pretty used to tropical storms and wind. It's the end of hurricane season, thank goodness. This is just a tropical storm. But Florida's not built for flooding. It doesn't get that much rain, y'all. And it doesn't have a gutter system like New York does. So there's nowhere for this water to go. And already there are massive pools, like little swimming pools everywhere. So the damage is really going to be from rain. We'll have to see how this plays out. We are expecting it to hit worse this afternoon. So, and you can hear it, y'all. I mean, it's raging, right? Listen to that. Yeah. And that's rain. That's not really wind. Because you can see my hair's not flying around and the windows are all open. So I don't know that, normally we would do our live at 5. I can't promise you because Florida Power is expecting part of the next rough part of the storm to hit right before then. And they're expecting we're going to lose power this time. So if I'm on at 5, I'm on. If I'm not, I'm not. And you know why? If I'm not on tomorrow, it means our power went out and it didn't come back on, which they're telling us is a real possibility. Do not worry. We are fine. We have everything we need. It's not going to be as treacherous, they're saying, as, even a small Category 1 hurricane, but we're going to have probably loss of power. So I just want to alert you to that. Mom, don't worry. Don't worry if you can't reach me. We're fine, y'all. We're fine. I want to talk today a little bit about something that I heard on a video this morning. And my husband's like, choose your words carefully, girl. And I was like, honey, sometimes you just got to speak. And while I understand why he's saying that, he's worried that, it's so easy in today's climate, post-election, to offend somebody, that I'm likely to lose my more unified community here. Meaning my community is a mix of all sorts of folks. All sorts of folks from right across America. And I'm both proud of that, because that says something about me, the person, and I'm also proud of each of you, because it says something about each of you. So I have all sorts of folks on this channel. And, his word of caution is more because in today's climate, it's really easy to hurt someone or inflame someone because of how many people are feeling disenfranchised on both sides of this equation. But sometimes, y'all, you just got to speak up. And I told y'all I'm going to have a lifestyle channel because I don't always feel this belongs on a craft channel. But I saw something today that made me say, you got to say something, girly. You got to say something. So here's what I'm going to say. Our President-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and thank goodness I'm pronouncing it right. And if you notice, I put an N link yesterday so that we all learn how to say it right. It's Kamala, and that's important because we want to be able to say her name accurately. Kamala and Joe Biden very clearly said yesterday, and it was a tearful moment, everyone is welcome under our tent. Everyone. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. It doesn't matter about skin tone or pigment. It doesn't matter what your sexual gender or if you have any preferences. Zero matter. Doesn't matter what community you're from. Doesn't matter where your parents are from. It doesn't matter what part of the country you're from. And it doesn't matter if you voted for Trump. We know you're disappointed and you are welcome under our tent. And we are going to do our best to represent you. So why am I reminding you of these very eloquent words that brought little tears to Alicia's eyes? Because, y'all, look, I know people on both sides do not feel heard, right? If you have been watching this election, That's not coming to you as a surprise, right? At all. The people in the inner cities, those of us that are from New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, you want me to keep going? Parts of Arizona. I mean, all of the city wants to see better representation of Americans in politics and better representation of Americans as a whole in every aspect of life. That's a priority. And on the other side, the priorities are the economy and making sure that we have food to put on our table. You know, these priorities shouldn't necessarily be competing. You know, let's talk about the reality of this for a minute. The reality is we all have to pay bills. That's true. We do. And the reality is we also want to live in a country because we all, listen, I told you all this, I was super proud. Every American voted. We've never had so many Americans vote. Something like, what was it? Like, I don't want to misquote, but it was a huge percentage of Americans actually voted. Okay. We should be proud of that. Why did they vote? Because all these issues are important. Every American has to feed themselves. Every American has bills to pay. So discounting that completely is kind of silly because it's true. Also, you know, maybe your top priority wasn't that the landscape of our politics and our employment changes. But you got to recognize that America has always been a country built by immigrants. The only naturalized American is a Native American, right? The rest of us are all people that immigrated here. And this whole country is built on that, on the hard work of our grandparents and our ancestors, whether they came over, 20 years ago or they came over 100 years ago. We all came from somewhere else. So we don't want to discount that either, because that's at the root of being American. America has always said, we are the great melting pot. And that meant from people from all over the world. So you don't want to discount that either. So Biden and Kamala were trying to say it yesterday. We got to come together. We may rank these things differently. We may. And that's surely true, because that was demonstrated in the election, right? But that doesn't mean that everything about the other side it should be thrown in the garbage can, because there were valid points made on both sides, if we want to be honest. And maybe that's hard for us to do when we're upset over things like COVID, when we're upset over things like George Floyd, right? Okay, so it's hard to say, okay, there's some truth about we got to watch to make sure we can pay for things. But what we can all agree on is that we've never had a record vote like this, which means we all love America. We all want America to be well. We all want America to be safe and viable. And that, I told you that's the bridge. And that's why President-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, and it makes me smile because I told you I had a little teary moment, said everyone is welcome under our tent. Everyone. And that, y'all, is a historic moment. And we need to follow that lead. So we may not agree with the priorities of people that voted in a different way, but we shouldn't be judging them and we shouldn't be name calling them that way. Meaning, what they're calling for, what Kamala and Joe Biden are calling for, is learning to see each other again. And they don't mean by skin pigment, y'all. They mean by red or blue. That's what they're saying. They're saying you shouldn't look at your neighbor who voted one way that might be the opposite way from you and be like, oh, I don't like that person anymore, right? What we need to do is start to see each other again. And I would say judge each person on their character. Don't listen to the media. Let me tell you, all of the media stations called each other's names. There was so much name calling in this election. There were times where I said to my husband, I cannot listen to one more second of this. And that was from all of the channels we watch. And as I told y'all, it was funny because Barbara Ford said her husband also is like my husband and watches like every news channel, including NPR. So I was like, oh, you live at my kind of house, Miss Ford. Okay. I can tell you because of that, every single media outlet was name calling. And I was like, why are you doing that? That's not very gentlemanly-like. It's not very ladylike. Why do you think Kamala often stayed silent? This is not a silent lady, y'all. She's an eloquent speaker. So many times Kamala chose not to take the bait. You know that? That took restraint. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think I'd have that kind of restraint. I got a big mouth, you know that. There's no way I would have spoke, but she knew not to take the bait. And she handled herself with composure and elegance. And I feel like she set an example for me as a woman. So it's like, don't take the bait. Don't listen to the media, all this name calling. It's not nice. It's not right. You know, investigative reporters are not supposed to be putting their personal opinion in. That's the whole point of journalism. As a writer, I'm going to tell you something. Why am I not a journalist? Why do I write fiction and nonfiction? Because I want my opinion in my writing. And a journalist is not supposed to be opinionless, nonpartisan, meaning they don't put their personal beliefs in. Well, guess what? They all failed, y'all. Every single news outlet had their opinion in there, and it was loud and clear. I felt like I was listening to editorialization, not news. And I'll tell you something, Anderson Cooper apologized yesterday for that. And I felt he owed us an apology for that. Just like I feel all the media outlets owe us an apology. Don't get caught up in that. These are people calling each other, and I get why. Everyone's heated up on both sides. I get it. But we need people to set an example. We need them to be like, name calling is not going to get us together. Name calling is not going to get us to see one another and hear one another. No, it's just going to put everyone's elbows up. And that's not healthy for this country. And the one thing we have in common, we love this country. And that should be first and priority. So I'm going to ask y'all, you know, to really take a step back, whether it's my channel and my opinion here, or it's the opinion of someone else on a different channel, try to listen with open ears. Try to listen with open ears. And try not to get so riled up. Instead, try to hear what they're saying. Both sides of this equation feel disenfranchised. Both sides of this equation launched valid votes. They're entitled to their vote. Just like I'm entitled to my vote and you're entitled to your vote. And let's try to take a positive message away from that presidential-elect speech and Kamala's speech about unity and coming together and all standing under one tent to make this a better country. Because we do love America. We do. And we want it to be the best country it could be. And that's only going to happen if we listen to one another and we work together. All right, y'all. I'm sorry, but I had to say something today. I did. Because I know that there are people who have expressed their opinions very politely. They have been trying to be very balanced. And, you know, they've been hurt by it. And I know that can happen. And I think we have to stop and listen. You know, this country, the vote was a nail biter. And that's because both sides just don't feel well represented. Now, we got to hope. Because, you know, I believe that Joe Biden is a unifier. You know, he didn't put a woman of color on the ballot late in the game like every other election. He said from day one, he was going to ensure that this race represented Americans, and he kept his word. That gives me chills, by the way. That gives me chills. He kept his word. And so I believe if anyone can unify this country, it's going to be him. And Kamala's going to be right there. She's going to be right there, y'all, with her sharp mind, helping us elevate our country. And we need to do our part to help them do that. And that means stop judging and opening our hearts and looking at people as people again, not as red or blue. All right, y'all. That's the end of my speech today. I'm so sorry, but, you know, I told you, I vetoed a lot of these videos, but today I had to say something. Wishing for you a happy and a healthy Sunday. I may see you at 5, or I may be in a tropical storm. We shall see, y'all. Take real good care. Take real good care, y'all. Bye for now.